Radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? Today is Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. 191 days into the new year. Just 174 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? I'm going to tell you what. You post dancing GIFs in the Twitter feed, and you post Elvis Aloha from Hawaii, you get a retweet every time. I'm just letting you know now. There it is. Boom. Tampa Rick with the retweet. See, that was simple. Man, I'll just sit and stare at this GIF all through the show. I don't need Emery Smith. I don't need anything but Elvis Aloha from Hawaii. Ronnie James Dio comes in strong. All right. Looks like Mark Tarana in Australia is going to behave tonight. Coming in with Ronnie James Dio. It's a big show tonight. Coming off of a fantastic show last night with Mrs. Smith. And I want to had a long phone call today with Mrs. Smith, and she did want me to say to everybody that you guys are the best, most wonderful audience ever. And I, of course, I agree with that. But she wanted to say thank you. Okay, and I don't do that too often. The show after a show, right? But there you go, Mrs. Smith. And that brings us to tonight. Emery Smith is here. And we're going to talk time travel tonight. We're going to talk portals, technology, time travel tech, and what possibly can be used today. And is the MIA, the Military Industrial Complex, the Department of Defense, other state actors around the world, are they using time travel technology? And where are we at with that today? So that is our conversation tonight. I know that there are a lot of listeners here because it's Emery and because it's time travel. So buckle down and get ready, kiddies. This will be, that's kiddies with a D, not with a T. Kiddies is Mrs. Smith. I just love that show last night. It was great. Buckle up, kiddies, because Emery Smith is going to be here at the bottom of the hour. Okay, and I realize once again, I know what is going on out there in the community, and that Emery has found himself in the middle of. It wasn't in his control. And I am sure that everybody out there expects some comments and conversation about that tonight. There will be none. Okay, that Emery has posted a statement over on his website, emerysmith.net. And if you want his position on everything, he has placed it there. I'm not going to take up valuable time on this show with something that I, again, last night, and I'll say it again, is completely private. It should have never come out. And to bog down the good people of this community with rumors, conjecture, infighting, and everything that is going on when it doesn't even need to happen. We've got other things to worry about. Big stuff is going down right now. Hey, how about that? I talked about this last night, and I gave you a long list of discoveries that are going on out in Egypt. This sarcophagus, which I went and researched again today, I need to stress with everybody, this is sealed. Who is in it? Don't know. What is in it? We don't know. You know, some really cool things, man. Is there another solid gold Is there something on the inside of that? And you know how they do it, right? And other things, right? Jewelry, things, whoever is buried in that, it was a very important person. And I cannot wait. Cleopatra? Oof. Oh, man. Ooh. So we're going to find out, and it's extraordinary. It is 6 foot tall. Now, if you are 6 foot tall, stand up and imagine a black granite sarcophagus as tall as you, and then stick out your arms. It's wider than that, and 9 feet. They're huge, and I have stood next to Egyptian sarcophagi that are that big, and they're ginormous, and the walls of it, they're a foot thick. And it's solid. It's tons and tons and tons of weight. And so think about that. What is in there? How are they going to get it out? You know what I mean? Forget about building the pyramids. How do you get that thing out of the ground? And so there you go. Yeah, there it is right there. Look at the size of that. That's crazy. Man. That's exciting stuff right there in Egypt. And so that's tonight's show. Emery Smith is here. Tomorrow night, Stephen Bassett is here, and Dr. Lisa Galarnow is going to be here discussing the disclosure movement, all of it. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. Very important show. You're not going to want to miss that. Now, here's our big announcement. I can't even believe somebody pinched me. Thursday night, we have just announced that we will have Barrett Brown with us right here on Fade to Black. Barrett is one of the most important voices of our generation. A journalist that has written for Vanity Fair, The Intercept, The Guardian, and many other publications. But the point is, one of the most gifted, talented journalists out there who knows prose, who knows how to get his mind out there correctly. Just an incredible writer. But it's what he has done and what has been done to him, too, as well. He did go to prison. He went to prison, charged and investigated and arrested by the FBI, was the voice of Anonymous and then was not. Was around with Anonymous from the beginning, and paid the price for posting a link, for cutting and pasting a link. They threatened him with 105 years in prison, and they dismissed 10 of those charges, brought it down to 1, was sentenced to 63 months in a federal penitentiary in Texas, where he served it out. And while he was in prison, we'll talk about all of this on Thursday night, but I want to give you the background here. While he was in prison, he was writing, and 3 of those articles won awards, national awards, real awards, for Article of the Year. Okay, he is just a tremendous talent and somebody that I have looked up to for years. When he got out of prison, they turned around and arrested him again. I talked about all of that on this show. And when all of that was going down, I was reaching out to Barrett. I was like, hey, man, come on the show. And then they turned around and arrested him again. I thought, well, okay. And that was for speaking to the media, right? So I thought, well, okay, let's back off on that. And but we got it. We got it, and Barrett is finally going to be here. He's now clear to talk with the media, and he is here with us on Thursday night. This is such a huge, big show, and I'm so excited for all of you to get a chance to speak to Barrett. I talked to him today for a couple of hours, or an hour, maybe longer. It was a long conversation, and he is so smart, so bright, and so concerned for this planet and media and everything else that goes along with that. It's going to be a tremendous night. And I got a chance to speak to him, and he cannot wait to come on to Fade to Black. And so he's going to be here on Thursday. And then we are going to do another full-length show because Thursday night is Fader night. So we'll have Barrett on for the first hour. Maybe we'll take some phone calls, but we'll have open lines after that. And then later, we're going to bring Barrett back for a full evening on the show. So there you go, Barrett Brown on Thursday night. I was talking to a couple of friends of mine in the business today, in media, going, hey, man, Barrett Brown here Thursday. What? Yeah, it's like that. For us out there in media and, journalism and media and stuff, what we do. Barrett Brown is somebody that we have all watched and looked up to. And he was not afraid to stand his ground. He was very vocal about his concerns. And that's a rare thing today in media and the news. It just doesn't happen. And Barrett never cared. He paid the price and literally went to prison for it. He's going to be with us on Thursday night, so you're not going to want to miss that show. Don't forget OnStellar, OnStellar. I was talking to Barrett today about OnStellar.com and the reasons why OnStellar was created, which is no advertising, no big company money, no data mining, no censorship. All of that goes down at OnStellar, and why it was created and how it was done. And I could see Barrett spending some time over at OnStellar, just like you should. OnStellar.com, OnStellar.com. Use my referral code Jimmy when you sign up. And then when you get there, just send me a friend request, okay? After you upload your profile picture, okay? If you don't have a profile picture, I'm going to wait. I have probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 pending friend requests over at OnStellar. That's right, because they don't have a profile picture. Those are my rules. I'm going to say it again. Do your profile picture, then send me a friend request. And I'll take it. I will accept it. Okay? All right, come and hang out. The articles over there are amazing. The comments on the article that I posted yesterday about Emery Smith, just the comments are great. And that's what OnStellar is about. The article that I posted about Thierry Jamin, down in Cusco, Peru, and his response to the Nazca mummies. Go check it out. The article is right there. And you can see not only the comments, but how articles are treated when you go over to OnStellar, right? You get trending. All you have to be is somebody that has something to say. And you create an article. And it will be seen and will be read. There isn't another social media platform out there that does this. And that's what OnStellar is about, this community. So go to OnStellar.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Emery Smith at Emery Smith. He's right there. He'll be with us in a few short minutes. And Facebook is still chugging along. You can go do what you want over there. Doesn't matter to me. I would spend your time at OnStellar. And I was talking to a friend of mine that I grew up with in Indianapolis. And he's like, hey, man, so, I don't see you over here, on Facebook anymore, man. What's up? I said, dude, I spend my time over at OnStellar. He goes, yeah, I know. Well, there you go. Go to OnStellar. You can hang out with me there. It's not a problem. All right. YouTube, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. If you go over to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the links. Click on the links. Click on the links over at jimmychurchradio.com, and it'll take you over to Fade to Black Official. It's right there on YouTube. Okay. Now, where am I? If you are new to the show tonight and you want to hang out with us, you want to chat, you want to do anything, go to Twitter, hashtag F2B is the sandbox, hashtag F2B, and come and join in the conversations. Of course, we have 2 chat rooms that are always open, one over at Spreaker.com, and looking at everybody here. Church admitted the letter is true on Twitter. Yes, I did. I certainly did. That's right. And just like Barrett Brown, I'm not going to divulge my sources. I don't have to. But I tweeted it. I'll do it again, too, if I have to. All right. And so there's the chat room, nice and active. And Gaia already announced there being a new host on Cosmic Disclosure at the end of today's episode. Really? Who's the new host? Wow. Shout out to Jared. See, you guys, I'm the chat rooms are live in front of me. You don't get it. It's live in front of me. Stargazer. Hey, Jimmy. Oh, now everybody wants, what's this one? Betzel? Is that Betzel? I can't bedazzle. I don't have my, contacts in. I don't wear contacts. So we have the chat room over at Spreaker and, of course, at KGRA, The Planet. All right, breaking news. Earlier today, the 12th boy and his coach were the last to be rescued as part of that complicated 3-day effort to extricate the soccer team in Thailand. 18 days, 2.5 miles deep inside of a cave system. Incredible. Crazy story with a great ending. But now that coach has some explaining to do. And if that was one of my kids, if that was one of my sons, let me tell you what, I don't have a son. But if I had a son and he was on that soccer team and got led into the cave by that coach, I wanted that coach coming out alive. Ooh. Can you imagine? Yeah, he has got some splaining to do. Yesterday, it was announced by Rivermoon Coffee. They've got a special going on right now for all of you Fadernauts. 20% discount on everything that they offer. Okay? It's called Take a Break, a coffee break. So all you have to do, click on the Rivermoon Coffee link right there, the banner at jimmychurchradio.com. It'll take you straight over there. The code is coffee break with the space, 2 words, coffee break. Coffee break. I can't say New York break. How would you say break in New York? I can't do it, but I can't say coffee. Coffee break, 20% off right now, rivermooncoffee.com. All right. Where am I? Don't forget, August 17th through the 19th, I will be in Colorado. I'm going to be out there for Dimensions of Disclosure with Corey Good and David Wilcock, Emery Smith, Teresa Yanaris, Gerald O'Donnell, Jordan Sather, and 20 other speakers and presenters. DimensionsofDisclosure.com. That's coming up in exactly a month. And so I'll see everybody out there. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We have over 885 shows. Custom apps, Apple, Android, just $2 a month. Go to jimmychurchradio.com. Click on that podcast banner. Just $2 a month. And you can do both. You can do that, and you can become a Fadernaut. All it does helps support the show. $2 a month. You know, what is that? That's a half a cup of Starbucks coffee. You go into Starbucks, you ask for a half a cup of coffee. It'll cost you $2. And because you can't afford the full right? The small coffee. Well, I wonder what that costs, actually. So think about that. And that's per month. So just one day, just go without a half a cup of coffee. And you can help support the show. Just $2 a month. Also, you can become a Fade or Not. Go over to our membership section on the site. You get the bunker cam. That's right. If you want, you can get commercial-free downloadable archives. And if you get the Game Changer, you get that Fade to Black gear. That's right. And if you renew your Game Changer, you get the new Fade to Black T-shirts. Okay? All right? Now, the new Fade to Black shirts are only for the membership renewals. Don't try to sneak your way in. All right? It doesn't work that way. But if you renew, you get the new Fade to Black shirts, and they're really nice. And don't forget to visit all of our sponsors here, Life Change Tea, GetTheTea.com, of course, River Moon Coffee, Ancient Life Oil, Sacred Skulls, Numana Food Storage, and Bearing Optics. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today. Rascal Flatts frontman Gary LeVox is 48 years old. And I like Rascal Flatts, just going to let you know. Why? Because they are the Van Halen of country music. They are. Go and check out Rascal Flatts. And just imagine, just kind of squint your eyes a little bit. Listen to a Rascal Flatts song and imagine David Lee Roth singing the vocals. Because their guitar player is just great. But it's the construction of the songs and how they do it. So I suppose with my knowledge of Van Halen and songwriting and playing, if I was going to go and start a country band, it would be Rascal Flatts. It would be easy. You know, you just take that model, the Van Halen model, countryfy it, and you've got Rascal Flatts. I think Gary's a great singer, by the way. I think they're a great band. I like Rascal Flatts. Also today, Adrian Grenier. That's right, Adrian Grenier. Today is 42 years old. Our dead guys' birthdays today are, and there are two, Nikola Tesla, 1856 to 1943, died at the age of 86. And if you think about it, he, physicist who invented the electric motor, arc lighting, AC power, right? He is the reason you can listen to me right now. So think about that. And also, Ronnie James Dio. 1942 to 2010, died of cancer at the age of 67. One of the great voices, if not the greatest in rock and roll. Seriously. That's it. That's all I have to say. Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Dio, pick one. It doesn't matter. Happy birthday, Ronnie. Every year when his birthday rolls around, I get all choked up. And thank you for posting that, Justin. I'm going to go ahead and retweet that. And I've got other pictures of Ronnie and I've just got to go and dig those up. But there you go. Let's just, let me do it like this. All right. Happy birthday, Ronnie. There you go. All right. Boom. Ronnie James Dio. Yeah, I get all choked up. Get all emotional when I think about this. OTD. On this day in history, 1925. It went down in Dayton, Tennessee, OTD. The so-called monkey trial begins when John Thomas Scopes, a young high school science teacher, is accused of teaching evolution in violation of a Tennessee state law. After 8 minutes of deliberation after the trial was over, the jury returned with a guilty verdict, and Scopes was ordered to pay a fine of $100, the minimum the law allowed. The Tennessee law was left in place until, get this, 1968, when the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in and overturned a similar Arkansas law on the grounds that it violated the First Amendment. That's right, on this day in 1925. Fader fact. Okay, here you go. Fader fact. Expedia.com, Hotels.com, Hotwire.com, Trivago, Travelocity, and Orbitz all have one thing in common. That's right, and you've seen all of the commercials. You've seen it all over the place. Expedia.com, Hotels.com, Hotwire, Trivago, Travelocity, and Orbitz are all owned by the same company, Expedia Inc. Bet you didn't know that, did you? That's kind of creepy when you think about it. I love my River Moon coffee. Who is in that? Who is that a picture of? Oh, the original Elf album. Wow. Well done. Ronnie James Dio in Elf. Now, tonight we're going to talk about time travel. And from the very beginnings of this show, time travel has always been one of my favorite subjects to talk about. And I have concerns with it, as do others. Now, I think, and I've got a couple of shows lined up in the future, I think that time loops are real. Einstein discussed this. It was proven mathematically. I've got a show, like I said, I've got some things coming up to discuss this more specifically. But Einstein says yes, and certainly going forward in time. Going backwards in time, Einstein said, it's a little bit more difficult. But time travel is an interesting subject. When we look today at things that seem to be happening around us, and I'm specifically talking about the phenomena of like the Mandela effect, there are things that are going on that don't seem quite right. And just like Stephen Hawking said, where are the time travelers? If time travel was real, then somebody from the future would be here now and we would know this. And he sent out invitations to a party. Come to my house, we'll hang out. You'll know that I've sent out these invitations in the future. And so, you know, and nobody showed up. I will say this. If I were time traveling, or if you were time traveling, backwards or forwards, you're not going to want to be seen or found out. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, you wouldn't be able to come back. That's the first thing. Second, and especially going back in time, you don't want to get discovered. You don't want to be wandering the streets in Jerusalem wanting to go and check out the crucifixion. You're going to be noticed, and it's not going to end well. But today, around us, there's another part for me. If time travelers from the future were visiting here, and especially the further into the future that you go, is there even a body involved? Is there a body? Would those be light beings? Would it just be invisible? You know, would they be able to cloak themselves and hide? But they're not going to want to be seen. And I'm pretty confident in that. And there's a couple of other aspects to it, too, as well, and I'll discuss this tonight with Emery. But every time, and John Teeter talked about this, every time you go and move, you actually go into a new timeline that is created. It's identical to this one, but you're not in this one. You can't stay in this one. It's another timeline that is created, and those are infinite. And that certainly, not only does it make sense, but that explains a lot why we don't actually see time travelers here with us in our timeline, in our world, but they would be right next to us in one that is identical to this one. So that's another aspect to it. I am fascinated with time travel. I know that it's real. And it's so real that you can go right now, speed of light, head out, come back, you've just time traveled. It's really that simple. You don't need a time machine. But is there a time machine? We're going to discuss all of that with Emery Smith in just a second. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter @jchurchradio. I'll be right back after this short break with tonight's guest, Mr. Emery Smith. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at getthetea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at getthetea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at getthetea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. Getthetea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, our guest is Emery Smith. We're going to discuss time travel, technology, portals. We're going to do all of that tonight. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. Use the promo code FADER, F-A-D-E-R. That's all you got to do. Click on the banner, go to the specials page, get yourself free shipping. GetTheTea.com. Emery Smith, he is here. U.S. Air Force veteran with a long history of assignments in highly classified deep black covert operations. Emery's moonlighting job at both Sandia National Laboratory facilities and Los Alamos National Laboratory led him to being directly involved in lab work and 3,000 tissue samples of extraterrestrials. Mr. Smith eventually worked at facilities all around the world due to the varying surgical experience and intense knowledge of biology and genetics that he gathered during his time working and studying on the base, in the field, and in hospitals. Additionally, he has personally witnessed multiple crashed UFOs in possession of the military and has studied their composition and operational characteristics. Tonight, we're going to discuss portals and time travel, what technology and projects that the Department of Defense may currently be engaged and working on. His website is emerysmith.net, and I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Mr. Emery Smith. Emery, good evening, man. How are you?
Good evening, Jimmy, and good evening, everyone out there. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
It's great to have you here, and crazy week. We'll put all of that behind us because we're time traveling tonight.
That's right. We're focusing on what needs to be focused on. Absolutely.
And I thank you for that, and thank you for taking the time to be here. And I want to ask you, actually, Emery, we have spent a lot of time together this year. We've done 3 events together. You know, if you think about it, I started to Conscious Life Expo, Contact in the Desert, and Disclosure Fest here in LA. And we're going to be doing Dimensions of Disclosure next month, out in Colorado.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and this kind of exposure for you, where you have been running in the shadows for so many years, assisting and sharing your information, but you've been in the background. It ain't that kind of party anymore, man. You are out and exposed. How are you handling that and dealing with it? And it's kind of like, I say it all the time. It's like being shot out of a cannon.
It is. It's an overwhelming thing. Of course, I had a lot of apprehension to coming out, thanks to David Wilcock and some others, including Gaia. It was just for me to get in the right state of mind, to really do what's right for my safety and for the safety of people that were involved with me and around me. Since I was working on some over Unity devices and zero-point energy things, I had a lab for 7 years before it went under 2 years ago because of financial crisis imposed on me by the government, that it was time for me to actually, after the threats were coming, the assassination attempts and just the vandalism of the vehicles and the homes being rampaged and taking all my worldly possessions, I was, basically at a point where I said, it's time to come forward and get as much information out as possible before something negative really happens. And in doing so, I want to tell everyone that it was the first 3 or 4 months after coming forward in November, it was pretty crazy and threatening. And then when the people started joining in, all the people out there started supporting me, which I was also afraid that people were just going to think I'm some sort of freakazoid or, some nutty guy. But, I had, thank God, the credentialing to back up everything I said. So I was vetted by, Michael Sala, by David Wilcock, by Gaia, by some other 3-letter organizations that were helping everybody out at the time. And I had documentation also to back that up. So it made me credible, I think, to the masses that, wow, this guy just didn't come up like a lot of other insiders that don't have some of this, paperwork to back them up. And also the physicians at Harvard University and Stanford were all also backing me up for my 20 years of experience with them and helping them with regenerative medicine and things like that. So I think, right now I'm at a point where, I finally found a grounding place after being homeless for a year, a nice little rental spot that I finally got, and it's just the biggest blessing ever. And thanks to my supporters and all my loyal fans out there, that it made it possible. I still have no furniture or a car or anything, but the fact that I have somewhere to like basically ground myself to get more of this information out and, bring it together to people like Dave Wilcock and Gaia, that it's so important for me just to get this information out and to help people understand that there are technologies out there that need to be presented that are being suppressed. And since I came out in November, over 50 different technologies that were classified are coming out. And these technologies are helping people in the medical field and in the field of energy. So I'm really happy this is happening. The threats have dropped down just tremendously now since the supporters. Because if they do anything to me now or my family, I'm going to look like a martyr. They don't want that to happen because that means, this whole time it's more validation.
Right.
And they're not Jimmy, they're not upset about me talking about extraterrestrial stuff. They're more upset about me talking about the energy systems. They're more upset about me talking about medical ways to heal yourself. They don't want people to know that. And I'm getting more threats on the sidelines from that than I do from the government with the ETs, even though most of my NDAs are almost completed now. I still have another 2 years on a couple of them. And I don't say anything to the public or you or my family or anybody that would endanger them. I know what the limit is. And the limit already enough is amazing what I can say and not get, too much slapped on the hands for. So people are asking me, like, Emery, how can you do this? How could you talk? I said, they don't care about me talking about ETs. You know why? There is no money being made by the cabal for just me talking about ETs. Now, if you want to talk about energy devices and over unity, you better watch what you're saying, Mr. Smith. If you want to talk about stem cells and growth factors and ways to heal your body from within, well, you better slow down, because we're only on, iPhone 4 right now, and you're talking about iPhone 20, and we want to milk this over 20 years. And that's not right. We are getting this information out now. Corporations can fight about it, and I don't care. I don't have any money involvement with that. I just want the information out so people on this planet can have a better life. There's no reason for anyone to be sick or ill or disease or, be suffering from famine, and including, having multiple amounts of food for everyone in the world and clean water, most importantly. And to top it all off, I'm starting with the planet Earth, because I've got to clean these oceans up. I have to get the technologies out for that. I have to help the animals of the planet. All of that is a ecosystem that is so unbalanced right now that Gaia is not going to put up with it. Earth is not going to put up with, this virus here of us destroying it. And she will cast members off of this planet if need be. So there's a way to get all this out. We're on a time frame right now, a time frame in this universe, on this planet, with multi-planets and multi-dimensional beings, that we have to really step it up. And extraterrestrials realize that we have been suppressed. There's many, many worlds out there that have started the same way we have at the exact same time. Yet, they're 100 more years more advanced than us, because we've been suppressed by this, this cabal, this major corporations, Majestic 12, whatever you want to call it, whatever the pop culture term is for now. So my job now is just to get these technologies out. I'm looking for funding to get a big lab going. I want to start making these things and presenting them to the world, and I'm doing that on a very low level right now, but it needs to be in a very secure way to do it. And you have to do it very safely, because some of the technologies, can be reverse engineered to do bad things. So even though I'm at this level of, I want to get all this out, it's not the level of the planet yet, which is okay, because we're all trying to raise our consciousness and our intelligence to get to a certain point where we're not chopping each other's heads off. We want to help each other, and we want to work together in unity for the better cause of the planet first. And then we can fix ourselves too. But it looks like to me, we need to fix each other first before we fix the planet, which, I'm changing my paradigm here, because people have to have what they believe is something that they can believe in, that have hope for, so people come together and take it seriously. And this is our planet. It's very, very serious. I'm sorry, Jimmy, I'll let you talk.
No, it's all about you. But I have said, Emery, many times, and then I'm going to segue right into time travel. I have a gift for that, which is this. We have been on this planet for too long. If you and I, as good of friends as we are, and we respect each other, if we're locked in a room for 50 years, one of us is going to die. It's not going to end well. And we've been on this planet for so long that without anything, certainly now to this point in 2018, where we need a goal. We need something else to force everybody to recognizing that we are Earthlings. We're not Catholics and Christians and Muslims and different black and white and yellow and green and we are not that. We are all Earthlings. And if we could have something to join us all together and realize that we have to save this planet and we have to have a future, then maybe we would stop fighting. I don't understand. What if we just built a big spaceship, right? And we told everybody, okay, look, we're going to put 100,000 people on the spaceship and a starship, and we're going to go to Alpha Centauri, right? Well, maybe we would. Now we've got a goal now to get off of the. You know what I mean? And
it brings everyone together.
Everyone together, and I don't know what will do it, but you're absolutely right. This divisiveness that is happening right now is out of control, and the media really knows how to effectively do that. It's all about divide and conquer. And to that end, if okay, I want to go right into time travel off of that. Because I want to know who's visiting here now. I mean, it could be E.T., could be us from the future. But if you, Emery, could go somewhere in time, where would you go? Would you go back? Would you go forward? Is there a specific event that you would want to see from the past? Would you want to go to the future and see what holds there? What would you do?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm really honored as a human being to be here on the planet at this most very epic time, because this is where I need to be, so we will survive forever. And I want to be part of that. I want to help. I want to get that next step. Now, for my own ego, I would say, well, yeah, of course, I would like to jump, a few years ahead to see where it's going and what's going to happen, so I could come back and then look and reevaluate my decisions and what I'm creating and things like that. Because let's face it, I mean, who wouldn't, want to jump in the DeLorean and go, forward? Going backward for me is not so much important, because history is something we learn from, so we don't have to repeat that again, that mistake. And, what's happened has happened. I don't live in the past. I'm all about where are we going in the future, how are we going to improve ourselves in the future, how are we going to get along in the future, what types of modalities of technological advancements are going to help us get to the stars, what technological advancements are going to help us clean up this planet. So, yeah, I would like to go forward to see what's the safest way to bring this out safely. And that doesn't mean I have to jump, a massive amount of years in there, because I'm very confident that we're going to survive this. I'm very confident. And I'm very hopeful about the future. And I'm very hopeful about mankind, that they will come together eventually. And maybe it will be over a traumatic event. Maybe it will be because we need to build a ship because an asteroid is going to destroy us, or maybe the world's going to, the solar flare is going to come and half the world's going to be gone, or whatever it is. Just like Ronald Reagan said, as you remember, you sounded like that when you were talking, that what would it take, an alien threat, to bring everyone together as earthlings, as you say, I love that term, by the way, earthlings, to get along and to really join forces and say, hey, does it really matter that, I'm this religion? Does it really matter on this gender or race? Like where I'm from, I'm working with extraterrestrials, that everyone has their own belief system. Everyone's different, but no one talks about that because everyone's mission-oriented. Let's all get a mission-oriented thing, like you said. Let's have something that we're looking forward to, that we can all work together. And I think, I have the answer for that. I think, by creating these self-sustainable cities and bringing people together from all over the world, scientists and all sorts of job-related people that can come together, because everyone is so important. That's what I want everyone to know. I don't care who you are, where you're at in the world, what religion, if you have a job or not, if you're living with your parents, it does not matter, because everyone is a very special individual and has something to offer once they make the choice to help.
The distance into the future, and I would like to do that, but I don't know if I would do 100 years or 200 years. I think I'm going for 10,000, right? I'd really want to go into the future.
Well, you'll never come back then. You're going to love it so much. It's going to be so beautiful. You better not do that to me.
10,000 years.
Here.
I mean, I've just often wondered what that world would be like. Would humans have bodies? Would we have?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question. And at this technologically advanced state that we're in right now, at this rapid state, I mean, we're going to have, anti-gravitic devices. We're going to be able to travel amongst the stars, and we might actually ascend into a time like the other interdimensional beings that came from this time.
Right.
By the way. So you're correct about us from the future coming back. And you get to this point where you get to use the entire part of your brain and your heart to understand. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I heard a weird noise. And to get to a technological state that you can change, the atoms in your body and become a light body and be able to go anywhere in this three-dimensional universe and possibly trans-dimensionally in multiverses. So I completely agree with you that this can happen over time, and it will happen. I know it's going to happen.
So if the Jimmy Church theorem, right, is correct, then time travelers from the future to here, especially from the extreme future, right, 50,000 years, 100,000, million years out, coming back here, the reason why we don't see them is because they're invisible. Right?
That's correct. They're on a different wavelength of frequency. That's just offset. Plus, there's other wavelengths that we don't know about that are out there that they can operate under easily. And, people see ghosts. People see things fly by them, and you can't really see it, but something was there. You see things move. This is a perfect example of beings from other dimensions and beings from, our own lineage. This is what's going to mess everyone up. From our own lineage, I've tested a lot of these genetic formations on extraterrestrials, and they are they have a little bit of human in us, which means they originated from our seed. So obviously we get somewhere. Some of us, definitely get to a point where we can come back and share technology, share ideas without anyone knowing, whether it is moving an instrument into a scientist's hand or coming back to the lab the next day and all these other algorithms are written out that you didn't write. These are like certain little things to help nudge us along so we don't stay in the Cro-Magnon stage, because it's pitiful that we're driving around using gasoline and oil. I mean, it just drives me crazy to get into a vehicle.
Is there, we're going to be headed towards a break, and I'm going to set this up for when we return as far as technology goes. Is there somebody, like right now at the Pentagon or Los Alamos or Sandia, somebody inside of DARPA with a lab, what have you, inside of the military-industrial complex that is communicating and getting this technology from the future from a time traveler?
Well, I can't say firsthand that they're getting information, because they have already conquered time travel using portal technology that was already here on Earth. What they're trying to do is reverse engineer Earth portal technology that's been here for millions and millions and millions of years into I'll just say, into electronics, where they can control it with a computer and make, a reproduced one.
Well,
I've been involved with those projects.
Okay, hold on for a second. Let's back up. I think I just missed that. What was here for millions of years?
Well, portals in the Earth have been here for millions of years.
Natural
portals like Stonehenge and other areas of the world, including under the seas.
Right.
That they have documented craft coming into the oceans and going through these areas. And people think portals, because of pop culture, that there's these like circles or these, it's very elaborate how they put it in the movies. And it's nothing like that. it's a given area, usually on a ley line somewhere. That's why a lot of bases are built over ley lines, by the way. And a lot of reservations have a lot of interesting things going on. We'll get into that later in the program. That the energy is proper to induce this field, this toroid field of electromagnetic energy to shift time and space. So it's kind of like having your own wormhole, on the planet that connects to other places around the universe and other planets, and even in this solar system. So travel is basically taking 5 steps forward through a veil that might be a little blurry, and you're already there. It's not something like you see in Contact where you're going through all this crazy lights and things like that at all.
I have experienced high strangeness in my own life that I can't explain, driving around or just exposed to something that I can't explain. I'm not going to get into those details, but the experience that I'm referring to, many others have gone through an experience that they can't explain, where whether it's missing time or if things look different. I've heard so many different stories, some that I've experienced myself, where you drive through a town that is incorrect, right? It's black and white. Some buildings are missing, and then a week later you come back through the same town, and now it's back into color, and some buildings are there that weren't there before. Strange situations like that you can't explain to anybody without sounding completely crazy. But this happens naturally on this planet, and I think it's going down every single day.
Yeah, I have a lot of requests about that, and a lot of people write in about that. And I'm not sure if that's just some glitch, in the matrix that, time is being altered, and then you're led to believe that this is what your life really was. But then people are having this Mandela effect where, no, it wasn't like that. It was actually like this. And then people are now getting online and saying, has anyone else had this experience? And I still don't know the art of how, if something does change now, how would it affect them in the future when they have already conquered time travel and can go in and out of time? They can seed planets and come back, 50,000 years, and for them it's just 20 minutes. It's a very interesting concept and paradigm that I'm still trying to figure that out as well.
Let's take a break right here, Emery. Tonight, our guest is Emery Smith. We're talking about time travel, portals, and technology. All of that and much more when we come back after this short break. It's Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can also follow Emery at Emery Smith right there on Twitter. I'll be right back. This is Fade to Black. Stay with me.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out! That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Hello, I'm Kate and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee. We have a special going on right now, 20% off on everything that they offer. RiverMoonCoffee.com. Use the promo code Coffee Break. 2 words. Coffee Break, 20% off. River Moon loves the Fadernauts. Go into, and that applies to Fade to Black blend as well. Emery, have you had our Fade to Black blend coffee?
No, I haven't. I should be programmed by now.
Yeah, man.
Definitely order that out. I hear a lot of raves about it, actually. People like all your stuff. You got good stuff. I'm not a big coffee drinker, that's for sure.
No, you talk too much,
I'll
man.
definitely try it out.
You talk too much. You on River Moon Coffee.
I'm pretty hyper as it is.
So, what have you been finding out about the technology that the military-industrial complex may have when it comes to time travel?
Well, they've been definitely working with portal technology before I came around, and they have definitely specific places in New Mexico and Colorado where the man-made units are, and there are also some Earth, bound areas that are subject to do that. But it's funny because the energies only come at certain times of the year where they can actually utilize the Earth ones that are kind of built into the Earth that our ancient ancestors have built. That being said, they wanted to be able to do whatever they want, whenever they want, of course, ego. And they have developed these portal technology systems underground and in some of the bases that are classified. And they have units that regularly go through these. And I was a medic on one of these a long time ago, and I was just recently asked within the last 6 months to come back, and in dire straits of need of funding and money. I almost took it, but when I asked about the team, like what's going on with the teams that were already there, because I know pretty much all the people that were involved with us in the last 20 years, at least since 1992, a lot of good friends of mine, they said, well, they're all gone. And I was like, what do you mean they're gone? And They said, well, we had an incident. So they were basically killed utilizing the device when they were going through to gather some samples. And I've been on just a few of these missions as a medic and biologist to go on these very small teams of only 3 to 6 people. But when I found out that it was my friends that all passed away, it really struck me, and I went through a depression point in my life with this recently, because it's basically like astronauts. You know, they are risking their lives to go to space, and you may not make it. And these are the same types of heroes that are unheard of and unseen that are doing things with these major corporations and military industrial complex corporations. And just so you know, it's not always point this out, even though I was an active duty service member, worked moonlighting at Sandia and Los Alamos. I was not employed by Sandia or Los Alamos. I was working for a compartmentalized project owned by a corporation being paid through the military. So, I want everyone to know that there's many different levels of these types of programs that are so buried through multi-levels of corporations and DOD and things like that, for them to have this, secret money going to these secret projects to invent things and to find out things and whatnot.
When you talk about these, the man-made versus the natural versions of these portals, just if you can, for the audience, what does the man-made device look like?
It's a frame about 3 feet thick, like a picture frame coming out of the ground in a specific area underground or above the ground in a hangar. And there's a fine line of about 5 feet maximum that when you enter through this, and then now the frame, let me just say, it's 3 feet wide, okay, coming out of the ground. It looks like a steel type thing, metal. And I don't know what it's actually made out of. I've never touched it. But it has some sort of course, magnetic resonance and very high voltage system. And you can see right through it, clearly. So you could see the end, of this hangar. You can see the end of the dome-shaped room underground. It's not something that there's not like a bunch of computers in there. Everything is kept actually in another compartment with windows in the sides of the wall where people can look in. And there's a fine line that you walk. And there's this 12-inch strip of a colored, usually yellow or red, that as you walk through the center of this thing, and this thing is sometimes anywhere from 20 feet wide to about 30 feet wide. And you have to walk directly on the center, because if you go off just a foot or two off of that line, you could end up being killed. So, you walk through this very slowly, the team does, and the person in front of you basically disappears in through like this slice. The best way I could put it is it's a slice in the air, and it's a little blurry sometimes, and you're gone. And the next step you take, you're actually in another area wherever they wanted to put you. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly where I was at. I could just tell you I could breathe the air, and temperature was the same. My ears always popped when I walked through this, like when you're on a jet going to another altitude, or when you're scuba diving, sometimes you have to, decompress, or when you're a free diver, you get that same feeling when you get through there. And then the next thing you're either at, this another area, I would say it's a planet, and we're collecting, leaves and dirt and crystals and rocks, and we're only gone like 15 minutes. It's a very quick thing. We don't go too far, and the portal that's there is either another man-made setup, like I said, with the frame, or it's an actual extraterrestrial-made portal, kind of like Stonehenge, like this kind of setup with rocks and whatnot. And you go right back. And when you get back, you actually have been gone for 45 minutes to an hour. So there is this time. Go ahead.
How is there? Okay. I've got like 10 questions on my brain here.
Good.
Let's go to the first one. how far? Okay, well, is there a time constraint?
There is a time constraint for some reason. Because they can only measure the energy fluctuations of the Earth that power this with their own energy to keep it going. And if there's any type of weird thing that happens with the Earth, or if they were off in their calculations, which many times they were, we lost many, many, many people. I've never lost a whole team before until just recently, that, you won't be able to come back. Well, or you might go to somewhere we don't know where you're at.
What my other concern. The Earth is orbiting the sun. It's moving in space, and if you travel in time, how do you end up back on Earth? And right, because you have to. Right, that's the first thing. And how do you not end up in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, for instance? How do you make sure you're on ground? How do you make sure you're not inside of a concrete parking lot up to your neck?
Exactly. As you know, this is the problem they had a long time ago. So they're trying to perfect all that stuff now by keeping these energetic magnetic doorways open that, are basically bending space and time for you to travel through this. And the problem they have is trying to keep the same energy at the same flux with the planet and the Earth and the sun and the moon. All these things are a factor. Now, I don't know the specifics. I'm not a physics expert. I just got dropped into physics in the projects, and that's why I'm so compelled to, all my partners are and colleagues. But I don't know how that is, Jimmy. All I know is the biggest problem they have is what you said. They were trying to, teletransport things, and it would, end up, embedding people in, different really harsh situations. So they're still, to this day, I just found out, of course, that they still have not perfected it. And there is a big issue, and people are losing their lives over it.
Yeah,
but the stuff that they're bringing,
Well, I did. I thought you had ended. Now I feel like I interrupted you. So, audience, please understand that's just how Emery and I talk. They should see us in public, in person.
Oh gosh, no!
Stepping over each other. Right? What about my big fear? Right? Hey, Jimmy, you want to time travel? Yeah, I do. What do you want to do? I want to go back to Egypt. Okay, cool. Boom. Here we go. Program it in. You're going back to 2500 BC. You're going to check out how the pyramids were built. Right? Okay, so I time travel, and I pop out on the other side, and I'm out in the middle of space. I miss the Earth by 12 hours, right? And I'm watching the Earth just disappear in front of me, and I'm stuck. Right?
They have not, right. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the misconception, is they have not perfected and dialing in like Doc did on the DeLorean and saying, hey, we're going to go back to this time, exact same day, da-da-da-da-da. No, what they have, and even through my experiences with over Unity devices, one time we had a sphere of energy form around a device, a 10-foot sphere of this blurriness, my colleague and I. And as we're looking out of the sphere, we could see the dinosaurs, you could see other civilizations, extraterrestrials, other, people that, you're just not familiar with. So there is something that's being flashed before us that maybe if you could stop these flashes of time going before you, that you could enter into that zone. Now, in the projects, now this happened to me after the projects in the lab, but in the projects, they basically already had these things in these areas that they known were these portals to go through to some other planet or some other place on somewhere else in the universe. I don't know where it was.
Now,
that you could experience,
and so I can imagine. Again, I'm not a physicist, but I can imagine high amounts of radiation involved here too. When these teams go out and travel, are they suited up?
No, there's no The electromagnetic field is very safe. It's using the electromagnetic field of the planet. We were in general where that you would find any team going, any lab team or military team going into any type of mission here on Earth. There was nothing that we were not allowed to bring through. It's just you couldn't have any metal touching your body. Metal had to be put in a special case that you brought with you. But other than that, I never got radiation burns or any type of radiation poisoning.
Are you talking about weapons or equipment?
Both.
The okay, so now let's go back to this for a second. The radiation side of things, I would also suspect DNA. You know, we could maybe alter ourselves. You know, that's crazy things that are going. That's definitely happened. I mean, look what the recent study of the two astronauts. The one astronaut had a twin brother that went into space for X amount of time, came back, his DNA was altered. So this definitely happens when you go through these things. Your DNA, could pick something up. It could be kind of like an enhancement maybe, or it could actually be not good. You might mutate, things can happen. And we were bringing back a lot of plant life. I remember one time we brought back this giant leaf, and it was bulletproof. It was so strong. The leaf, only a few millimeters thick, was, I'm sure the technology from this leaf is probably in all sorts of things today that they reverse engineered. And there's always a problem when you bring any type of flora, fauna back into the planet that was not from this planet, because, DNA has a way of getting out to the atmosphere and affecting the other animal life and plants and whatnot. So I think a lot of new species that are discovered are not only just from stardust, hitting our planet, but are probably something that has leaked out of a lot of these programs and has mixed with other DNA. Whether it's something washing up in Thailand that you're not familiar with, or a new plant species. We discover a new species, a few of them every day, especially in the oceans. In the Amazon, they discover new species every day. So if I'm understanding what you're saying here and suggesting, you're saying that you went through these portals yourself on missions. And I want to get specific here, especially before we get to the bottom of the hour. Was this on Earth? I mean, you were just going to...
This was definitely not on Earth. This was definitely not on... I mean, the portal starting was on Earth, but the ending up was definitely not on Earth. One time I thought maybe I was inside like inner Earth, because I was in this huge, gigantic cave system. But for the most part, I was outside. You could see an atmosphere. You could breathe. Temperature was normal. There was nothing there that was. It just did not look like Earth. There's no place on Earth that I've ever seen this type of dirt. Some of the dirt was very colored very differently. It was very dark red, and sometimes it was more violet. I mean, the plants were of very amazing iridescent colors. I've never seen any life though, as far as insects or beings. We're there for 15 minutes to collect things and get out safely. Obviously, there was an issue in the past, because why would they make us bring weapons, as a scientific research group? I don't know. Now, that's up for speculation. So there might be something in the past that we were never debriefed on, especially they don't really talk about the hazards because they don't want you having anxiety. But they just tell you the survival techniques and what you need to do if something were to go wrong.
How many of these did you go on? How many of these?
Under 10, I will say.
Under 10. And did they tell you where you were going?
No. Oh no. You just know that you're going. you're just going. You don't get to know any of that stuff. Okay, your job is to go to this area. Okay, and we kind of know that it's obviously not Earth. We kind of know that it's something spectacular. And we don't get to actually study the stuff when we get back. We have to hand it off. We're really the grunts. We're just a retrieval team. So it's not like we're special by far. We're like astronauts. We're just get to go, do our thing, and come back and let the scientists figure it out.
How many out there do this type of mission?
I'm only familiar with this government and what they have done with the project I was associated with. Now, I have heard other countries, through, this is secondhand information, so everyone knows that, the Germans and the Russians and some people in England have some sort of technology like this that they've been covering up for a while. And investigating also under the seas, and there's not a joint thing going on that I'm aware of. But I do believe they're also doing this on a different level, covertly. I only know of the project I was involved with, so that's the only thing I can really talk about. And they've been doing that before I came, and I don't know how much longer before 1990 that they were doing this, but it seemed like they had a really good idea of what was going on. We were debriefed, by the way, of environmental conditions of where we were going, such as the temperature, humidity, and wind, and just real basic stuff. Like if you're going to go to the Bahamas, or you're going to fly up to New York, you want to know, hey, what's the temperature? And you check all this stuff. So we would get debriefed on real basic stuff. We also got debriefed on things not to touch and things that we were allowed to touch.
So somebody had been there before?
Absolutely.
Now,
these have been open, playgrounds for sure.
Okay. There are those out there that are listening right now, are going to listen to this show in the future, that need to hear me ask this question. Which is this: how do you know, Emery, that these experiences aren't maybe implanted memories or something else, that the experience is real as far as you're concerned, but that somebody may have been messing with you?
Well, because of the amount of funerals I've been on, I don't believe that's true. And the amount of families that knew what their loved ones were doing, it's really going on. I don't believe I was mind controlled to believe, that all this has unfolded. And we do have more insiders coming out this year, and people to back up, these types of claims. I'm not here to convince anyone by far.
Right.
I can only tell you my story, what I've been through, and I've been through many vetting with medical physicians and psychiatrists, and I've been on the polygraph 10 times. So, I have nothing to hide, and I'm not making any money off this. I'm doing this for free. So, I just want to get the technology out there. I want to get the corporations listening to me right now to say, we might have to release something here in the next 5 years, which would be a huge advancement for us. There's a lot of technologies being brought back from these places that we could, do something with.
Yeah, the bulletproof leaf is very interesting to me, and I was wondering about if that was from here on Earth or somewhere else, which caused me to go into that line of questioning.
It's definitely from somewhere else. And look at the applications. Like, we can make firefighter suits out of these things because it's heat resistant. There's no change. I mean, there's so many beneficial things to save lives, using these materials. But they're holding it. They're putting it in a closet and using it for their own personal use or agenda.
I do want to say to the audience, Emery doesn't even know what I'm about to say, but I was told by somebody in the media that there are approximately a dozen other whistleblowers, and this doesn't come from Emery. This comes from somebody else independent of both Emery and myself, that they have been polygraphed and they are confirming a lot of this information, and that is and that's getting ready to it's there. I mean, it was a pretty fascinating conversation for me to have, and this was earlier this week. So when I want the audience to understand that I know that Emery has his friends and coworkers and stuff that are waiting to come forward. But I heard this independently, and that was a pretty fascinating, almost somebody that's completely disconnected from this community. And I thought that was pretty exciting news. So that's on the back burner. But when I hear you talk about this stuff, I know some of the things that I am told behind the scenes, and I do agree that these are exciting times. And there's another part of this too as well, Emery. When you talk about your background and some of this stuff where there are those out there that are going to say, oh, come on. But there are a lot of people out there that are resonating with what you are saying, and they want to hear more. And that I'm encouraged by that, but I'm also fascinated in the amount of positive response that you get.
Yeah, I was surprised to have such a big following and support, and I just want to thank everyone again for helping me, because I would not be here if it wasn't for all the support from everyone out there following me and believing in me and trying to get this out to change the world. And it blows me away, because it's if I heard this, and I've heard a lot of stuff, I tell everyone, I'm like, I'm sorry to say this, but it's like, you can't believe anything you hear, anything you see, or anything you read, or anything you watch, because after you have to go out there and find out for yourself, do your own investigation, and try to help convince insiders to come forward. And I did this because I really wanted more insiders to come out, that, hey, you can survive and make it through this. You can, because there's people out there that really believe in us, that really want to help support this, and it's going to do good things. We're not trying to install fear in anyone. We're just trying to let the world know that there's other options for these people. And, coming forward probably was the best thing I ever did, because it kept me so much safer. And to have the support of everyone behind me and asking intelligent questions, and, scientific groups calling me now and asking me things, I'm helping them along, and universities as well. It really changes my whole, it really uplifts me to want to just, keep doing this forever as much as I can before they take me out. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
Man, but, it's not going to happen at this point. But one thing I do have to take out is this commercial. So let's get to that right now. Our guest tonight is Emery Smith. When we come back, I'm going to let Emery think about this. He mentioned leaves. Did he see anything else? Anything on 2 legs, 4 legs? Talk about that when we come back. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
Hi folks, what can I say without making claims? CBD is truly the buzzword for health. What does it do? Government institutions will not allow me to say what this wonderful oil does for us. But I can say it's non-GMO and organic. I can say it's 0.003 THC, which in plain English means you won't get high. There are those that want to squash your freedom to buy natural products. Fight back with your purchase power. In the end, it is you that takes care of your health. Go to ancientlifeoil.com. One more time, ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. Segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Numana. Numana, emergency food storage for you and your family. Just go to the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code Jimmy. Every order over $100, you get an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Emery, do you have a Fade to Black t-shirt?
It doesn't fit. You gave me you gave me like a large or something. I'm like an XXL.
An XXL.
Can you ship me one?
Okay, yeah, we'll hook you up. All right, I'll sign it too. How's that? I
hope so.
Did you see? Let's go back to this portal. Did you see any biological, things with blood in it? Did you see any life?
I personally did not see any beings out there, but I have seen videos of beings from the past that they debriefed us on different places that we were going and different civilizations. I do believe there were probably life on that planet since it had water and foliage. I just did not personally see any bipedal beings walking around. And you have to understand, we're there for 15 minutes and it looked very, very desolate areas of wherever we were, whatever planet it was or whatnot, or Earth type planet. So I wish I could get excited here and tell you, we handshake with some extraterrestrials or something like that. But I did not see any bipedal people, but videos I watched from prior units going in did make contact many times with different types of extraterrestrials. I don't know where they were from, but they did speak English, and some looked like us and some did not on the videos. And they would debrief us ahead of time of the types of plants and the types of rocks that they wanted us to collect, and dirt samples and riverbed samples, and sometimes even underwater we had to go to collect certain plankton and things like this.
The videos that you saw, was it friendly in that, were they expecting us?
Yeah, it seemed like they were used to the visitations. I didn't hear any sound, by the way. It was just the videos of these people, the cameras that were on the people. Everyone has a couple cameras on them. They're very, a lot better than even what we have now. They're very small. They're on your helmets. They're on your torsos. They can put these anywhere. And they don't use any type of electromagnetic tape, of course. Some sort of internal recording. That can record for a very long time, even though we're only there 15 minutes. And that's what's really interesting is, shooting 15 minutes and coming back and you've been gone for 45 minutes.
Now, you said some look like us. Did they, were they us or slightly different, taller? Describe them.
Yeah, okay. If you want me to get into the details of these, a lot of these were Aboriginal type looking people. And very highly advanced. They had devices on them. They had very interesting looking weapons. They had definitely were higher technology, but they looked kind of like Mayan people. And in one of the videos, I remember specifically, and they had really interesting. I don't know if they're tattoos or body art or some sort of implementation that emits kind of like jewelry, but it's on the face and on the arms that emits light, like sparkles with light. Maybe it's a crystal, and one of the beings were very short, very short and stout, and kind of like a troll-like figure, but very large, elongated heads, and kind of like a smaller person, but very stocky. And they wore very elaborate wardrobes, and seemed to speak. They were speaking back and forth with the team, and there was never like an aggressive thing going on. There was an exchange of trade of some sort of bags that they would exchange back and forth, and that's about the best I could tell you safely on my end that I've witnessed through that debriefing.
Those videos exist. Yes,
they do. 100%.
Yeah. Do you envision, somebody like Anonymous or some white hat going in and getting access to these videos and having those released? Yeah,
they have storage data banks and satellites in the exoatmosphere for a lot of the stuff in inner Earth, and they only connect to it to download. So what that means to me, I'm in great hopes that China or a couple of the major hackers living in Washington State, and I know one of them, that I think there's definitely a possibility if any information is floating through the air that they can access this and bring this out. So I believe in the near future, they're probably going to change everything now that I said this, that this information will be able to, be gained by the mass public somehow. And it's probably going to be played off as a hoax or something until someone validates it.
What about other countries? Certainly we can't be the only one that has a sacred portal, inside of their country, and possibly this technology as well for a man-made version of this. Who else is doing it?
I know China, Russia, Germany, definitely, possibly England. You have to understand there might be a place, right off the coast of Florida, hypothetically speaking, between Bahamas and Bermuda, that maybe the Chinese are in charge of that. So it's a very interesting, how this works. It's just very, I can't even understand it because it has nothing to do with politics or boundaries. This is a whole different, corporation-controlled cabal thing that, that different countries are operating it, yet it's all controlled by, these other corporations, it doesn't matter if it's China, because there's always just this one entity kind of controlling the whole thing. Not one corporation, but many corporations, but the main, corporations that are, operating these things. So I've heard of, these countries having the capability to do this. And that's all I can say. I don't know, like, the specifics of, who does what, how many they have, but they definitely have this technology.
What about a power source? What are we talking about here? What does it take to fire this up?
I know it's very high voltage. I know they have to use the Earth's magnetic energy for it, and they have to do it at certain times of the month and of the year that it has the most amount of energy, especially with the Earth, and its axis and the way it rotates. All these things come into this for the physics guys to really figure out what's the best ideal time to travel through these things safely. Now, they do send probes into these things, no different than you see these drones that you buy at the store. They do send drones in and out of these things, and they do make it, and they're made of, plastic and metal and everything. They're not encapsulated, but they do have a special coating on them, and I don't know what kind of coating it is, that allows this thing to operate by itself. There's many times where, of course, the drones don't come back. So I think, before teams go through, they do a bunch of these tests, I've noticed, and then we go through and then come back.
And what is the general mission objectives here? If you're going back and collecting plant life and soil samples, what's the reason for that?
Well, don't forget, I was just part of one of many teams that were doing different types of missions. And we were to collect these items and bring them back. And it was basically given to, other laboratories to reverse engineer things and to collect cures and also to collect diseases and things like this to manufacture and utilize in the secret projects for all sorts of things. For, of course, the war-related, items, and also for big pharma-related items and medical items. I mean, it's just unlimited amount of things you can do when you find out the constructs of a leaf that, that reflects heat of 2,100 degrees and also reflects, the amount of pressure under a bullet coming at, 2,800 feet per second. So I think they're trying to reverse engineer things to, help technology get advanced. I mean, look what we've done in the past 100 years, going from, horse and buggy to landing on the moon. And I'm sorry, humans aren't that smart. We had to reverse engineer a lot of things that we, collected from space. And there's ongoing missions every day to space, to collect extraterrestrial vehicles and junk that's up there that's either blown up or it's just space junk. And they bring these things back to reverse engineer them. It's no different than that when they go through these portals. They might find, I did hear of missions where they actually brought back, pieces of craft and devices that they found. So I think these are just normal missions out there to help our technology advance.
What about, well, go ahead, to help us advance what?
Well, just to help us advance in all of our scientific community, no matter what it is.
What about bacteria? What about coming back with something crazy?
That has happened. Yeah, that has happened. Not with anything I was involved with, but I did read briefings, and they did instruct us that if we get somewhere and it doesn't look like we told you it was supposed to look on the video, then you're probably not in the right spot. So just turn around and come right back. Don't do anything. So if they said you're going to end up in a desert with red sand and violet flowers, and you get there and you're in a swamp, then you need to turn around and come right back. And then you have to do this 2-week decontamination thing where they watch you. You're not allowed to go to the surface. You have to, take all these blood tests, and it's just a mess. It's a huge bio-decon horrific event that you have to go through. Luckily, I did not have to go through that. We did see on videos some people that did wind up in a place, and they did get infected, and those people were terminated.
And what do you mean terminated?
Well, because they didn't know what the threat was, and they couldn't figure it out. And there's these special sensors and scanners. As you come out, you are already walking through it like a decontamination area that has to do, we call them plasma showers. So you actually have a shower without any water. It uses plasma energy and ions to detect. And they have dogs, these special trained dogs that can smell anything. They know every bacteria. They smell everything, but they also only bark and only signal to the people if you are contaminated. So when these people came back, the dogs were going crazy. The plasma sensors, the ion plasma sensors were going off. So they had to just, that was it.
And what about there's got to be some kind of contamination or quarantine area. You've got stuff on your feet, right? You're just dragging.
Oh yeah, no, you have, we have, it's not like special suits, but we do have some skin tight, interesting apparel we wear on certain missions. Some missions, if they've already done hundreds of them, you just wear your normal clothes. I'm talking about your normal battle dress uniform or your lab uniform or whatnot. But there are special suits they have that are a little bit more advanced, that actually have a helmet and things like that, like a space helmet, but not big like an astronaut. This is all very skin-tight stuff that they use when you go through these places that have not been visited too much.
The artifacts that could be there, like here on Earth, right? We have bottle caps, soda straws. I'm thinking of beverages.
That's
for
right.
That are.
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And did you ever see anything on the ground?
Yeah, I did see metallic things and had picked them up. And it was funny because I'm so glad you brought this up, because one of the funniest times is we had a guy, a newbie on the team, and he was supposed to just photograph stuff, but we all have these special bags on us that are coated with something. So if you want to put something in it metallic, it'll come back through. And he was just amazed that he found this plethora of amazing artifacts, and he was like scooping these things up, putting in the thing, and everyone was laughing. I didn't know what was going on. I was new. And, he was just like, this is amazing. And he comes back, and then they let him know that was just a bunch of trash that the civilization left behind. It was like, didn't mean anything.
Well, E.T. would do this. Yeah, E.T. would do the same thing here. Look what I found on Earth.
Right.
And he's holding up a McDonald's straw, right?
Yeah, or a Coke bottle.
Yeah, Coke. Could be anything. It's funny how we relate all of that to food, but that's how it would be, right? Something amazing. Any evidence of I was talking about ET earlier, or something bipedal, but what about worms or insects or buzzing mosquito type things or small animals, anything like that?
There were some marsupial type animals that could fly that were not aggressive and were not birds. I can't even explain it. They're basically I really don't know how to say it. It's kind of like a naked rat with wings and gills and a tail that can go in the water, come out of the water. They're all vegan. They eat the plant life of the seaweed at the shore there, but they also can fly perfect and glide. Now, I've never captured one of these, but there's a history, in the books of these flying rodents that survived in this one. I remember this one place we went to. So, yeah, I did see that, and that was quite stunning and quite amazed because it was the first time I actually saw like something living other than plant life and rocks and dirt. But it was a normal thing there, and I think they've already collected them many times, so we weren't there for that. We weren't there to kill anything or harm anything.
Now, it sounds like, and you can say yes or no because you got to answer the big part of the question after, but it sounds like you were collecting basically vegetation and plant life. You weren't collecting anything living, not even worms or anything like that. You weren't doing that. And if it was for pharmaceutical reasons, are there medications that we are taking today that were brought here from off-planet?
Absolutely. There's many reverse engineered polypeptides that have been, duplicated from the proteins of this plant life. And, the DNA is a big thing with bringing these things back and trying to crack their codes and see what they're made of. And, they can tell how a plant was formed just by taking a plant, DNA and looking at it, and also trying. Their big thing, of course, is there's a whole what do you call it? There's a large underground facility, this plantation of just non-terrestrial plants and seeds that they have collected and grown underground. These amazing trees and bushes and flowers and vegetables and fruits, all from other planets, that they're trying to mimic, here on Earth, which I think could be dangerous at some point, but, maybe not. Maybe since they come from the same atmosphere, they come from the same biosphere that's similar, that, they still live off of sunlight, UV, and they grow, they still do photosynthesis. There's a lot of common things. And then there's the other extreme where the planet doesn't have, enough sunlight, but it still keeps itself warm from geothermal, so it still creates an atmosphere, and all the plants basically survive off chemogenesis. And that's, living off chemicals and minerals from the plant, kind of similar to things we have in the Marianas Trench, where these beings, these crustaceans and plant life and tube worms are in, boiling water, and they're flourishing because it all has to do with the chemicals of the planet keeping life in existence.
Are you in contact? Do some of these teams, tell you about recent missions?
Not anymore. I've lost pretty much all that since March. So March was the last time I had any contact. I don't believe I will get any more contact because of me coming forward with this, and because the team that I knew has passed away. And those were my connections for the last 20 years.
Do you think they're listening right now? I mean, that's the obvious question, right?
110%.
110%. And so, which means I'm going to push you even harder. So let's go. You
want them to shut us down again?
I know. They've left us strangely free tonight and alone. I will never forget that night on Coast to Coast. That was absolutely.
That was just mind blowing.
It still
gives me chills today.
That was Bizarro World, and nobody at Coast.
Have you had that happen since?
No, and they went through the engineering team. Everybody was listening to the show there, right? And
did they ever figure out if it was satellite or through the?
I didn't go and speak with anybody personally, but I do know that they went through the studio They went through and tried to find issues. And now whether they found anything or not, I don't know. I did talk to a couple of the engineers there, and dude, man, you and I freaked people out. I mean, they were losing their minds, and they should have, because it was just a freak thing that happened. Now, okay, before we get to the break, how many can pass through? I mean, doesn't this eliminate the need for, spacecraft? Can we get 1,000?
Yeah,
through?
Exactly. Oh, absolutely. I mean, teletransportation has been around forever, and at least they're coming out with studies now to put this atom over to the other side of the room, with this atom. And it's funny when I hear all these things because, how do you think, and this is not like really secret stuff. I mean, our top commanders in the military use it, our presidents, use these types of technologies to get to places. And I would like to say some names that it's been documented where there's a colonel here in, let's say, D.C., shows up at a symposium in Nevada within 15 minutes of leaving the stage on camera from CNN. And now he's walking on stage here. Unless he's got a twin clone, there's only one way you can do that. And portal technology, teletransportation has been around for a while, and they have perfected it. So portal technology is different because that has to do with two locations that are in sync, in the same frequency, in the same electromagnetic flux field, that it's just like an opening in space and time to just another area. It's just a doorway, that's what portal means, gate, doorway. So that's all it is, to this one area. And these are all over the planet, and they've been using these. The ETs have been using them forever, and they actually have on film ETs going through these ancient stone portals and also in the oceans. They don't know how to bring craft yet or mechanical things like vehicles through these yet, but I'm sure they'll perfect that. And since they haven't perfected it, just with humans walking through, which are just, expendable assets to corporations, by the way, that, it's a scary thing. But the adventure is there. The journey is there. Like astronauts, I'm sure, they do it because, they want to be that person. Every little kid wants to be an astronaut and go amongst the stars. It's just a driven thing in a lot of people with that lineage. So these explorers, we end up doing these things and becoming addicted to it, even though we know there's a bad mortality rate with it. It's the sense of adventure and to do something no one's ever done before. I'm sorry, I got off the question. So
no, that's okay. No, that's a perfect place for me to squeeze in this commercial break. So let's do that right now.
Excellent.
All right. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about some disappearances that have happened around this planet. And could that be portals? We'll do all of that next. Our guest, Emery Smith. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
What can I say about the most popular tea on the internet? And what do customers say about Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com? A lot. But by federal law, we at GetTheTea.com cannot make claims to how this product can enhance your health. We cannot even post our testimonies without being in compliance. So how do we get past the hump? Try our products at GetTheTea.com and see for yourself. You can send us a testimony, but we just can't post it. Bummer. Our products are GMO-free and organic. We pride ourselves in being the best we can be, and we urge you to take charge of your health. We're 11 years strong, and many of our customers have shared their successes with friends and family. Protect your colon. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Bearing Optics Night Vision Goggles. NVGs. Just go to the Bearing Optics banner right there at jimmychurchradio.com and give Alec Hoffman a call. He is a Fade or Not. He'll help you out and select what is right for you. It's complicated. It's complicated. Get the right ones. Talk to Alec Hoffman today. And our guest tonight is Emery Smith. And Emery, I wanted to ask you, one of the obvious things, and I remember it going down live on the air on this show, which is Malaysian MH370 just disappearing and hasn't been found. I don't know how you just lose a commercial airliner of that size and it just disappears. Did that cruise through a portal?
I know too much about that mission to really get into. That's probably a whole other episode. There was a place in Afghanistan that we had a server. Do you want to know what happened, really?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I don't know if you heard about this. Have you heard anything about the server being stolen at a secluded base in Afghanistan, taken over by terrorists? We lost everyone.
Wait. Okay, hold on a minute. Repeat that.
Have you ever heard about the classified server computer unit that was on a base in Afghanistan that was taken over by terrorists, and they acquired it and sold it to China.
No, I haven't heard this.
Yeah, it's super classified. And that was basically taken over there, and it basically had all the, everyone's information on it as far as the military's secrets, for the operations and people's names, and it was a really big loss. However, our intelligence in the United States was so amazing. They were following where it was going. They knew the transactions that were happening. So they had had their scientists basically take us on a regular commercial jet liner to take somewhere else, not knowing that the government, the United States government, was already onto them, and it was our pilots flying that plane where they basically went up to, 35,000 feet and popped the pressure, and everybody kind of went out on the plane, and then they took the plane to an undisclosed location with all the dead people and reacquired the unit, the server, and then used that same jet to fly over into where's that, Kazakhstan over there. Remember that they were blaming the Russians for shooting down that jet, or with
Crimea.
Yeah. Well, that was actually the same jet they used later on to hoax that whole thing.
So we got the server. What was okay? The server had names and places. It didn't necessarily have technology.
Oh no, it had nothing to do with the technology. It was just had super classified information on it that they could access our satellites and got more information. It could have been a really bad thing. But the Chinese knew what they had, and they were going to actually sell it to somebody. So what I heard.
That's what happened to MH370. So it didn't disappear through a portal. A UFO wasn't involved, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so it had a server on it that terrorists were trying to sell to China. We needed to get the server back, and we did, and we took the plane to whatever, Diego Garcia or something, and then got rid of it over Crimea. Ukraine.
Correct.
It was over
Months later,
Ukraine,
right.
yeah, not Crimea. I'm sorry about that. It was Ukraine.
I don't know exactly where it went down, but that was part of that whole mission. That was terrible, but...
What about other... Do you have any information about some of the things... You mentioned the Bermuda Triangle earlier. We've had...
Yeah, there are. You're right. There's these areas on the planet that have sometimes rips in space and time, and if you happen to be in that area driving a car where you are going to disappear to somewhere else, like all these ships with these electromagnetic storms, out in the Bermuda Triangle. And, I know there's a lot of studies saying that just as many ships and planes go missing in other parts of the world, there's no significance to this triangle, but there is in other parts of the planet. When these things happen, and we have the ability to scan all the oceans. We have the ability to do all that. It doesn't take long for us to find a downed craft. If you can't find it, you need to raise your eyebrows and say, either the government's involved hiding and covering this up, or they actually went through one of these energetic portals that just happened to form because something else was coming through at that exact moment. And there is no place that this could happen anywhere. It just happens to happen in these areas where there's a high amount of traffic of portal jumping from these extraterrestrials and other entities.
The famous doorways that are in Peru, Bolivia, those are there. We certainly have Stonehenge. We have the mystery of the Great Pyramid. But you are suggesting also that there are other sites out there that the government is utilizing, depending on the time of the year, right now. How did they find those sites, and are they similar? Are there these megalithic structures, or is it just an area?
No, it's only at the megalithic structures below the seas of ancient civilizations, including Antarctica. Also, there's one off the coast of Cuba on the east side. There's one in Bimini, one in Bermuda there. There's a couple of them, actually. Of course, all the ones everyone already knows about in Peru and Bolivia, like you said, is very common. I know China also has a lot of these pyramids, and Italy that people don't talk about, that also have areas that can be utilized for this. So there are these special areas that are confined just to that area, and that's why the ancient civilizations built these structures on these sacred, energetic healing places, properties of the planet, because they were also utilized to, they were also utilized for other things, not just for, using it as a portal, but for many ceremonies and healing of the planet, and also healing of people. And it was a place where, the ancients all gathered. Ancient civilizations is what I'm referring to, extraterrestrial.
And submarines. Let's go back to this for a second. If these could submarines travel through these, if there are sites under the ocean, which I believe that there are, there's lots of evidence of that. We have the Malibu underwater base. That's a huge door right off the coast of.
That's right.
Off the coast of California that a submarine can easily pass through. So is the Navy involved with this, and do they transport submarines? I mean, and if they did that, if they did that, the submarine on the other side would have to also be in water.
I'm not aware of the Navy utilizing that for their fleet. I am 100% aware of the Navy protecting those areas with the fleet. So don't forget, the military is there mostly to protect all these amazing compartmentalized projects. And it's the corporations that have enough money, not so much the military, to make spacecraft, to get these types of, people through these things safely. I mean, no offense to, the military. I love the military. It was active duty. But at the same time, we're the protectors of Sandia Labs, Los Alamos Labs. We're the protectors of these sacred sites, believe it or not. They have satellites that have special detectors on them, to get back to your other question, and this is how they found these places, not only through archaeological finds, but also through now special technologies where they can pick up on anywhere on the planet when there is a fluctuation in the Earth's magnetosphere, because for some reason when you go through these portals, it actually creates a different type of magnetic flux in that area, and these satellites that they have put up there can pick up on it in like a millisecond. And then they pinpoint these things, and they do investigations. Then they find out, oh my goodness, these craft are coming through all the time. They do these reconnaissance missions. They might scope out an island for like a whole month, and no one will know they're there, but they're just monitoring this portal coming in and out of this island. And then they'll go in there and make a deal with the government and control that area, usually through a corporation, because the military cannot just go buy an island or buy a certain part of the ocean. This is jurisdiction things, but the military can't, but corporations can. And plus, if anything ever was exposed, it's just going to be because of the corporation. The military has nothing to do with it, and so there's the legality issues of that is very dynamic.
It sounds very similar to the GRACE satellite system that NASA JPL has got up there now. It's a pair of twin satellites that are tethered together. We thought it was we thought it was an alien object last year. That was hilarious. Somebody sent me the animation from NASA, and which looked pretty convincing. It was like, holy crap, that's a square spacecraft that just took a right-hand turn. Anyway, and so...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
that was great.
We contacted NASA, who turned around and contacted us and said, yeah, that's an animation film that we used. But NASA wrote me last month saying that the GRACE satellite system now has been launched. And that's exactly what it's up there doing. It's measuring the gravity changes around the planet. Now, why would you...
Wow.
Yeah, wouldn't...
They told you this.
Yeah, they did. And they also said, would you like to have some of, the engineers to come on the show? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I want some other stuff to be talked about, too. But, but going back to this, you would think that gravity is pretty consistent, right? What's the necessity?
You would think.
Yeah, right. Why?
You would think.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, you would think. I think that's a pretty fascinating comment coming from you, and it makes a lot of sense. So then they are able to spot these areas and then go there, knowing that either something just happened, somebody came, or somebody went. And it's almost like nuclear testing or something like that. They're able to measure it and then go exactly to that spot.
Exactly. No, that's precisely what it is. And gravity is just a hard thing to describe anyway. It's more of a theory. It's just but they have it down. It is up there for sure. And this is how they do it.
The other part of this, when we talk about portals and this kind of activity, I go back to not only Stargate, the movie, but the TV series, either SG-1 or Atlantis. And I see that. Now, I know Roland Emmerich in the movie, and I get that, and it's Hollywood, and I understand that too. But could this be a way of exposing us on this planet to the technology and a cool application for it, so that when this technology does come forward, we're completely acclimated?
Absolutely. I mean, the American Picture Association, American Movie Association, they are all in on this, and they are trying to slowly release a lot of this information out the white hat to break things in for people so they won't be so, and it won't faze us. I mean, when the children watch these shows, and just like Star Trek growing up, and Star Wars, it's, it is this coming of reality. I mean, a lot of the shows back then, when you're looking at their medical devices, we have these now. I mean, there's a lot of interesting correlations, but they are putting money into that. Unfortunately, they do a lot of the evil alien agenda, which is not nice. But they're still, basing it off of things that have already happened. Like Steven Spielberg was briefed on, through the National Security Agency, CIA, and Project Blue Book, and all their Air Force government people before he made Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And that stuff has now come up in the public's eye as, wow, maybe they gave him some ideas. Like, why would he be meeting with them to talk about what? And this has happened with many directors now in classified meetings, James Cameron and other people, to, break these story lines in. And a lot of the storytellers and the book writers from this have gotten, information from people or downloads from the universe to, explain this type of technology, write books about it, make the books into movies, and to help, put a new technological stance on new scientists and engineers that look at some phantasmical extraterrestrial movie and say, man, I can make that actually. Do you think? And they do. So it upregulates everyone's, suggestion of what actually can be done. And I just want the world to know that if you can dream it, you can make it. And that is the truth. You can make anything you want. It just takes time and patience to figure it out. It's just a puzzle.
Is there paperwork? Do you have any mission paperwork? Is there anything out there from either you or your friends that can blow this completely out of the water?
Well, there was until last year when they broke into my house and cut into my walls and took all my information. That was going to be the mind-blowing thing. I mean, I had micro disc from some of the projects and a lot of paperwork. We're just now, I'm just now getting into my new place here and seeing what's left since everything's been in storage since my house was ransacked last year, which you can look up on divinecosmos.com with all the photos and paperwork. But yeah, there was that, and I'm praying that the insiders coming forward this year with me, may have some information that has not been taken that can show this. I have a few documents to show I was in certain projects that we're making public soon. I'm also going to make all my military documentation public and put on my website hopefully within the next month. The corporations that have all my stuff right now, like Gaia and David and some other ones, are keeping that classified, so I'm ready to show that because there are some revealing things in there that I'm not comfortable yet revealing, but they are official government documents. Michael Sala has seen a lot of these when he vetted me and met with me, and I'm hoping that the insiders, my instructors from back in the day when they come forward, are going to be able to also maybe bring something juicy that will just completely blow it out of the water. Because let's face it, documentation is everything. Okay, I became this person here, and I have all the documentation to prove most of what I'm saying is correct and true to the best of my knowledge, which has been vetted. And some of these things, like talking about portals, it's like, well, I don't have a video camera showing me go through it. I don't have a documentation certificate that says I'm portal trained, that's for sure. But I want to let the people know I am one of the first insiders that's ever come forward with over hundreds of pages of documents and letter recommendations from captains to colonels to major surgeons around the planet. And I was just published at Stanford University with the Atacama being. So now I'm kind of out there. I mean, I have lots of published papers in major universities for curing different types of diseases and helping people with peripheral artery disease and things like that because of the systems I invented to concentrate stem cells and platelet-rich plasma and growth factors and whatnot. Even though I'm not, in that arena as much anymore, I still am really close friends with all the physicians around the planet, still helping them with that movement.
What is next? Do you have a plan?
Well, the plan is right now is to develop a team of 300 or 400 people to really get this M City started, the self-sustainable city, to prove to the world and our government that we can do this on a very low budget and still produce energy and free water in the middle of a desert somewhere and duplicate that all over. And I think we're on a really good track with it. But this is a big 3 to 5 year program. So I'm looking forward to releasing devices without getting slammed by gas, coal, and oil, and including them in on it, and including the communications and big pharma as well, to come together and work together. I don't mind if they make money because we're going to be cleaning the atmosphere and cleaning the planet and cleaning our bodies with new types of techniques and not be regulated by the FDA, to get something approved so quickly that it's organic and safe to be used on the body. So people and the government is kind of opening up to my ideas. They're slowly entertaining it. They're slowly accepting it, and they kind of want it to happen. But I don't have the team. I can't do this all myself. We need architects. We need scientists. A couple of my systems I just turned over to a laboratory. We did some great validation on it. It proved over unity. And it's like, what's really, what do we do with that? Because you can't monetize it. You can't, put a patent on it. It'll get rejected. So we have to find, ways to bring these types of amazing instruments into the field of humanity without the corporations trying to kill everyone over it, or to allow them to control it. And even if it cuts down on half of the fossil fuels, it will be beneficial to the planet and all of us.
So what you are proposing here is, when you say self-sustainable, you're talking about growing. You have to feed everybody, but also creating water, I think is what you said. I'm paraphrasing. And electricity too as well, because you have the technology to produce electricity without more electricity coming out than what is going in, more energy than
Of course, yes, definitely. Yeah. And that's going to be shown. That was just witnessed recently by, 20 scientists and a group of film artists. So it's all documented. So if anything happens to me, it's still going to be brought to the world's attention next year in some sort of documentary or film. I don't know how they're going to do it. But, it's out there, and people, this is not rocket science either. This has been around since 1899, Tesla Stubblefield stuff. It's just no one's been able to get it documented and validated. And I have, my systems have all been validated by 3 different corporations. It's great, but everyone's scared. Well, what do? We have this, but we can't patent it. We can't, we can't bring it out. So I said, well, let's just build a new one that's different, and let's try, manipulating that in a different way. I mean, it's such a dynamic thing, because I have to include everyone. You can't alienate and say, well, I'm going to do this on my own and leave it in my garage forever, like most people do when I come validate their systems and look what they have. You have to have a plan, and the plan is to incorporate everyone around the world and all gas, coal, and oil and say, hey, we're going this way anyway. So why don't you guys be the ones to let us do this, and let us show you what can be done, and we won't, take this and in any way and black box it, because that's the thing we don't want happening. And there are countries out there actually utilizing some of these systems in their power plants and not telling the civilians that they're charging that they, saving half the amount on gas, coal, and oil. And instead, it's like some countries have taken these devices, put them in, and here we are thinking, oh, well, they're going to cut a big deal for this country and all the people there, but they don't. They just keep doing what they're doing, and they're banking all the money, 50% off what they're burning up. So it is still corrupt everywhere, and we just need to stop thinking that everyone's the enemy and just say, hey, you guys have been doing this forever. You guys have been making money off us forever. Maybe we can improve this somehow and let everyone benefit, even you. Because we're already paying the bills, Jimmy. So even if we're paying the bills, why don't we clean the planet up?
Stay right there. We're going to do a little overtime, Emery. You don't have a choice. I need you for another 10 minutes. So I'm going to take a break right now. I've got too many questions. We're not going to stop right here in the conversation. This is Fade to Black. As you notice, Emery didn't say no. Emery, you stay right there. This is Fade to Black. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. I've got some more questions about this energy device, and I've got to ask. I've never done it before. I'll do it next. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back. Goofing around on Twitter. Sorry about that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Emery Smith. We're talking about portals and technology, a little time travel. And Emery, welcome back, and thank you for doing a little overtime. We started to talk about this sustainable community somewhere out in the desert. And I know that you have been developing some energy devices. Now, this is what I wanted to ask about this without giving away a whole lot here. But is this, how big is it? And is it, is it something I don't know. Is it the size of a gallon of milk?
Well, you can,
or is it bigger?
Yeah, it's a scalable unit. So, we can make one a little bit smaller than a car engine to power a car. We can make one, as large as a semi to power the entire state. So it's very scalable. Is it like a small generator that you can put in the back of your house, in a 24 by 24 inch cubicle, And, the whole place will, the whole neighborhood can actually run off that.
Are there
So
moving
it is
parts?
a scalable item.
Are there moving parts, Emery?
There are moving parts. Yes, there are moving parts to it. I can say that much. I am under NDA, so I can't release it too much on the radio show. But like I said, you will have a full lineup of this in about a year, going public with it regardless of what happens, which is very positive. And like I said, it is scalable to a very, very small size to run just, your laptop and whatnot.
The ability to do this, is there any strange elements involved, or is it mass producible and with stuff we have?
It's very easy to make. Very easy. We have all the components. This could be mass produced. I was getting so frustrated last year, I almost, rented a C-130. I was going to just parachute it over into China and hope they just made 1 million of them.
Well, one thing is for sure, like with OnStellar and the blockchain, those ideas can be preserved in the blockchain and secure, and nobody would have access to them, and they couldn't be altered.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just a thought. I'm putting that thought out there. And what I mean by all of this is that if a big corporation got a hold of something like this, where right now we're building, nuclear power plants, or there's things that are involved to generate electricity, certainly coal plants and so forth, where natural resources, whether it's atomic or coal or what have you, are going in and burnt up and used. But with your device, a company could take that, have free energy, and still turn around and sell it. And right? That's where I see this as getting really funky.
Yeah, that's the only way to have it done, because anyone else, you're going to get killed. Every other inventor has done this. Most of them have been killed, as you know. And you can't exclude anyone. And we still benefit. People don't understand when they're like, "Oh, you're selling out to the major corp." Well, we're not, because if they start at least incorporating it, the more they use it, the more they're going to want to use it and get off gas, coal, and oil, which is polluting the planet. And this is the problem: is these and I'm not the only person that has one of these things. There's engineers all over the planet that have amazing different devices, and I know a lot of these people, but no one is willing to stand up like I am and say, "Hey, we're not going to fight you with this. We want you to be the ones to release it." They should be the ones to release this, to be honest. And I'm going to give this thing, away to these major corporations. And there are a few major corporations right now inquiring about it, which is great. I mean, I think it's a fantastic breakthrough that, maybe something will come out of this. So let's, keep praying for that.
Is there any science fiction involved with this? 0 point energy or anything like that? Or is
it is harvesting, the energy from 0 point vacuum of the collapsing of energy, which energy is brought in. So absolutely, there is that dynamic of, you could probably read up on that online. There's millions of devices out there that have been proven to do it. But to prove and to see your colleagues' eyes just open up that you're showing something over Unity, because everyone hears about it. Everyone says they have something. I've been on 1 million, interviews and missions where I go and try to validate these systems, and they just are not pulling it through correctly. They're not, it's just a couple things are off. But to finally do it in front of a mass amount of people and have it documented and put it in a very safe place was, it was a tear-jerking moment, because it's hard to, you can't sell this to, some billionaire. You have to get it in the right conscious hands. It can't be all about money either. But at the same time, in order to get it out safely, you have to incorporate, some of these larger entities.
Where did the technology come from?
It's based off of Tesla Stubblefield's work back in 1899 that has been perfected by scientists in the last, 15, 20 years here. So it's based off of that. I can't give the exact names because I'll give it away. And we just have, finally perfected it and proven it.
Now, this is
another good way. Mm-hmm.
I have to jump in. I don't want to run out of time. This isn't your idea. This is from your team. Or is it both?
No. I was the one who initiated it. I was the one to help build it. I had another scientist involved that his life was ruined because of it. And my life, over the last 7 years has gone downhill, as you know, just because I opened this 0 Point Energy Lab. I had a great life until I started working with energy devices. And, I was cracked down by the government and FDA and IRS and everyone, was not too happy with me. And they know how to financially take me out, so I couldn't fund this project. And they did very successfully. But the thing is, we completed it, thank God. And then we had other corporations validate it, because you have to get it validated. Not everyone can do that with these types of systems. So we're on the right track, and we're, including more and more people. It takes a lot of people to make this happen. And it wasn't just me and a guy in a garage. We had to outsource a lot of things and bring people in all around that didn't want their names associated with it, but they also wanted to help us. So that's another beautiful thing is, this is not a project I can take solely, all full commitment with, because we were just modifying a couple things. But it was the group collective effort that made this happen. That's what's so beautiful. Hundreds and hundreds of unknown scientists, calling in and helping us, complete this. And we were able to do it. And now it's just sitting in the right hands, being looked at as a way of possibly getting it out to the public. But, it's just still at that moment. But the most important thing that it's documented and people saw it.
You also mentioned water. Now, where does the water come from in a self-sustaining community in the middle of the desert?
Well, that's also a very simple thing. I mean, we've been using atmospheric water generators in the military. I've built huge ones that have the cargo containers, and very small ones just for our homes. And, this is no different than your air conditioner blowing a fan and collecting water from the air, and it dribbles down. And so if there's, such as in India, because I wrote a big thing for them one time, Project Wishing Well, and all their water is contaminated in India, in the Ganges River. And you have to wait for your 2 buckets of, your 2 empty buckets for the villages when a water truck comes by, and that's your water for the day. So using an atmospheric water generator out there, which is just a solar-powered fan that's, blowing through these coils, you can have just many, hundreds of gallons of water consistently going all day long, even at night with the batteries that charge it up. So that these people can have atmospheric pure water from the air. And this can also be done in deserts, even though there's low humidity, and collect water from just the atmosphere indefinitely for free.
If all of this is put together, and it sounds, it doesn't sound that difficult, Emery, is what I'm saying.
It's not. I know.
Why it would not so much here. I mean, it would be fun to do in the United States. You can go on vacation there, maybe live there, whatever. But around the world, where we don't have the communities and the things that we have here in the United States, it certainly sounds like a solution to solve all of the world's problems. What's the issue with that? Why would somebody running That's the part that I don't understand. If you're Bill Gates,
well, it's
why
all
do you
about
care?
monetizing it
Right,
too.
right.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem.
When it comes down to morals, okay, it comes down to that, a sense of morals and doing what is right for the world. If I'm worth $5 or $10 billion, I can't spend. How much shopping can I do? How many watches can I buy? You know, how many homes can I why not take care of those that need it? It just seems so basic to me. Why would they be concerned if it was free energy or not? Why not take care of the world? I don't get that. Why is there this lack of morals and justice with those that have money? I don't get it.
We're being controlled. They're being controlled. We're being controlled. You know, people think political leaders can make all the decisions. Well, they don't. You know, there's other factors in there that everyone has to benefit. And everyone has to get a piece of the pie, and we are the slaves. And you know, it just we never get out of that level of frequency. We're here now. We're raising that frequency. We're changing the minds of these people. But until everyone gets on the same page, it's always going to be this. You know, I mean, I don't know how many times I've visited with the ministries of many environmental places and countries that once you get something, give it to them, and you think they're going to do the right thing with it. Instead, they want to keep it just for the VIPs, just to keep in the castles, or just to monetize it somehow, so the people still have to pay something. It's really crazy, and it's really been a letdown for me to have all these amazing technologies and get turned down by major countries and corporations that say they're going to do one thing, and then once they get it, or almost all of it, they change their mind. It's like, well, we don't need you anymore because we got 80% of your technology. And then they call me back a year later, oh, well, we can't get this going correctly. Can you help us? And I'm like, well, you just turned your back on your own country. You're definitely going to keep turning your back on me. And I told you guys not to do that. And it's just, it really kills my heart to know that we're still not at a conscious level yet to take care of each other. And then, like I said, I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other amazing engineers and scientists out there that have amazing devices, even better than mine, that are just holding on to it and not, getting it in the right hands. And, if they do want to get in the right hands, please contact me, and we'll work together to do that, because I think, we have a good trajectory of the right people in charge as far as, getting this out to everyone and not getting blackboxed.
Why not, Emery? Why not? We have OnStellar, and it's ready to go. And when the blockchain is secure and locked down there, why not just release it through me? Why not just put the plans out and put it out there, and it can't get changed, it can't get altered, can't get manipulated, and just put it out there? What's stopping you from doing that?
Well, I'm doing that. I'm just doing it through a different avenue with what's going on. And you have to understand, too, when there's this incorporates other patents, other procedural patents, and things like that. So we have to really, look at the big thing about it with investors is, well, we need its own IP, its own intellectual property and patents for anything to be done, or no one wants to really do anything. And that's the big holdup we have. So we do have other devices that are completely new, but every time I file a patent for it, they come back and say, well, you can't have this because this is already government controlled. We've already invented this. It's a matter of national security.
Right.
And, you've heard of this before. And this happened to me with my earliest patents with medical. So I knew I was getting into something with the wording and the verbiage, and it's better to say, well, this one battery can charge 3 batteries. And then you're like, you're okay. They leave you alone. But if you say this one battery charges unlimited batteries, oh gosh, you're not getting anything done. So you're against the patent government, which is controlled by gas, coal, and oil, of course, and the military, because they don't want, any cures out. They don't want any free energy out. So you have to take baby steps. You have to just say, well, this device probably can cut your energy cost by 30%. It's like solar panels. You can't have a certain amount of energy coming out of solar panels. They put a cap on it. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I actually saw that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Good.
But I saw that where the military stepped in with, solar panels can't be more than 25% efficient, right? I've got those documents here. But why not be? You would be the world's hero. You would be the most popular, liked guy on this planet if you just put all of this out there. You would be that guy. Time Magazine, Man of the Year.
Yeah, I'm not interested in any of that at all.
But you don't have to patent
it. Getting the technology out.
I'm just...
Well, that's the thing, the patent. So we get it, and then what? It's like, what do you do with it there?
But why patent it? That's my point.
Well, you don't have to. Well, that's the thing, because even if you start making it, they're going to come down on you, is what I'm getting at. They're going to say it's their patent, and it's worldwide, and they're going to say, you are going to be in federal court tomorrow. I know, I've been there. And they're going to say, you stop what you're doing right now. They threaten, they will come out, they will drain you. I've been through this, guys. So you're going up against, something really big that, I'm sorry, I don't even have furniture. I don't have enough money to fight anyone, that's for sure.
Right.
So, this is a very serious thing. And you have to have the right team in place, is what I'm getting at. You have to have the right people with money in place that don't want money from it, that are willing to, get this out. Maybe we do it in Europe instead, or maybe we do it in China instead, or maybe we do it somewhere else where it gets so mass-produced and to so many places that no one can stop it.
I do want to, first off, I want to thank you for this amazing conversation tonight, but I want the audience to know that Emery now has a place to hang his hat. Earlier today, Emery and I, we're talking. I said, so where are you? He goes, dude, I'm furniture shopping. I said, really? And he goes, yeah, I don't have a stick of furniture. You don't have a thing, but you do have a home now. And we're all happy about that, and that's a great place to be. I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. Rita and I, this is years and years and years ago, a long time ago, but Rita and I moved into a new apartment, and we were so happy. We didn't have, at that point, we hadn't moved our furniture in, but we were like, you know what? Let's stay there tonight anyway. So we stayed, literally, I'm not kidding, 2 blankets and 2 pillows, slept on the floor, and we went up to the market, got a frozen pie, brought it back, put it in the oven, baked it, and ate it with plastic forks sitting on our blankets on the floor. And it was one of the most happiest times of my life. It was amazing. And Rita and I,
you just described my last 4 days.
It was so awesome. And Rita and I were sitting there. We were listening to a little radio. We didn't have a TV in there. And we're listening to a little radio. And Rita looks at me and she goes, let's go walk around the apartment again. So we were just like in the middle of the night, walking around, not a stick of furniture. But it's such a great feeling to know that you have that place to hang your hat. Thank you so much, Emery. And we're going to see you in 5 weeks out there.
Dimensions of Disclosure.
Yeah, Dimensions of Disclosure out there in Loveland, Colorado. Really looking forward to that. And let's go hang, man. Let's go break some more bread.
Oh, I can't wait. It'll be exciting. Please check me out at emerysmith.net. Thank you, Jimmy, and everyone for having me. I love y'all. Take care. Keep following what's going on, and we're going to get this we'll get this planet together for sure.
That's what I'm talking about, Emery. Thank you so much. Give my best to Olivia.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Emery Smith, everybody. Now, it's very simple. It is emerysmith.net. And Emery, right before the show tonight, posted up a message to everybody. And I want you to go and read it. Just go to emerysmith.net. And I would say that is pretty crisp and clear. And it's right there at emerysmith.net. You can go and check it out. You can follow Emery on Twitter at Emery Smith, and he just tweeted out, "How is everybody digging the show?" Right? And I replied back, "I'm digging it." So you can go and follow Emery Smith on Twitter right there, Emery Smith at Emery Smith. And tomorrow night, before I have to get out of here. Tomorrow night, we're going to do a Disclosure Movement special event. We're going to have Steve Bassett is going to be here. And opening the show tomorrow night is Dr. Lisa Galarno. And I will be introducing all of you to Lisa and the Disclosure Movement. And Stephen Bassett is also part of that. They work together. And we're going to do all disclosure all night tomorrow night. And then Thursday night, which is the big event that we announced earlier today. We've been working on this now for just over a year. Thursday night, journalist Barrett Brown is going to be here. His story, his talent, his life, it's an extraordinary adventure. And to have Barrett finally on this show, I can't tell you enough about the work that was put in to get the show done. But his story and the conversation that we are going to have Thursday night is a true not to miss show. You can follow Barrett Brown. It's Barrett Brown on Twitter, at Barrett Brown. You've seen him tweeting already tonight. But I want to back up really quick before I have to get out of here. 2 years ago, Rita and I attended the Hope Conference in Manhattan in New York. Hackers on Planet Earth, the Hope Conference. And we attended that with Greg Hausch from Anonymous and others. At that time, Barrett was still in prison. And I talked to the hacker community out there, and the subject was all about Barrett Brown and his respect that he has out there in the not only the hacker community but the IT community is unbelievable. But it's also the respect that he has from all of the journalists around this country. And he went to prison, and now he is out. And Thursday night, he's going to be here with all of you Fadernauts. And then I'll see if we can take some calls. But other than that, it will be open lines after that because it is Fader night. Thursday night is a huge event, and you're not going to want to miss it. I do want to thank Emery Smith for coming in tonight. Again, emerysmith.net. Thank you to everybody. Just an amazing show tonight. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamurian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.